Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen, looking at potential sales, concept ships, vehicles, or straight to flyable, rideable ones that could be coming throughout 2019, and some of the holes in the current lineup of vehicles and plans for the future. In 2018, we saw from mid-February, starting with the Vulcan, a concept sale every 6 weeks or so, and I expect CIG will keep a similar format to that this year. However, with the 300 series rework coming in 3.5 alpha, which is end of March 2019, they're planning to have some more customization for ships when you purchase them. This might only apply to a ship once it becomes flyable, rather than concepts though. It makes sense from a marketing point of view as well, having a concept sale with bonuses, then a flyable sale with additional customization. Nothing confirmed for that though, just theorizing. I suspect you'd get a customization token or something with concept sales if that was the case though, if there was sort of like a two-stage with flyable you can customize the ship, so don't worry too much. Let's start with some of the more obvious or at least well-known ones that we should get concepted at some point. So the Drake Corsair exploration ship. So this was first mentioned in You Pick the Next Drake Ship livestream, where viewers voted on a ship that would be made and concepted into the game by Drake. The Vulture won that. However, all the ships there appear to have been made other than the Corsair now, I think. So the Corsair has been described as Drake's answer to the Constellation with a focus on exploration. Expect something like the Constellation Aquila, maybe with a good amount of utility, but maybe not the best equipment, maybe no escape pods. It definitely makes sense for Drake to make a medium-sized ship like this, maybe a bit more multi-role than just exploration, but exploration is going to be such an important part of the game, and there aren't that many ships, especially of like the medium size, that are able to do it. They are reconcepting the Redeemer Gunship at some point, originally made by the winners of the Next Great Starship competition as a dropship. It was hangar ready, but never became flyable. Its role's been entirely replaced by the Vanguard Hoplite and the Valkyrie now, so the Redeemer is being entirely reconcepted and rebuilt as a full-on gunship. So expect big guns, boom, 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 supporting dropships is my expectation there. So that's a couple of the ships that haven't gone to concept properly yet or need reconcepting, but there is some ships and interesting suits and vehicles that might just go on sale. The Cygnus Spider Miner was concepted a few years ago and some fans loved it. More recently, it was seen in the Squadron 42 Vertical Slice and now in the Squadron 42 roadmap. It's made by Grey Cat, and in an early preview it was referred to as a mining drone, but also looks to potentially have a cockpit that can support 1 to 2 crew members. It's more recently been referred to as a massive mining machine, colloquially known as the mining tick. It is a spider miner in my head. It's always been referred to as the spider miner rather than the mining tick, but it does look a bit like a tick as well. I mean, they all look the same, don't they? Arachnids and ticks. I hope that's not spiderist or something. Not sure if it's something that will go on sale or just be available in the game at some point. It's pegged to be completed for Q2 2019 on the Squadron 42 roadmap though. Titan exosuits are probably the most exciting thing on this list, for me anyway. Super heavy armoured exosuits that are suitable for combat or support and utility work. They are originally made for industrial purposes. There was supposed to be a Next Great Star Marine series where backers would have designed these, but these were then required for Squadron 42, so were made in-house. The most up-to-date info shows concept art of one with a giant lightning gun, which also looks to be equivalent to a size 2 ship weapon. These are not mechs, but rather Iron Man type exosuits. I suspect that this will be the most popular sale that CIG see. It's going to be based on their price though. Hopefully it's going to be sub $100, but they are really cool looking. Titan suits bridge the gap between infantry and vehicles and anti-ship / anti-tank stuff. They are planned to not be as mobile as infantry and may have problems in buildings and moving around corridors, things like that. They are very likely to be vulnerable to flanking and EMPs as well. They should give vehicles and ships at least some cause for concern though, as well as infantry that can't hide from them and just going to get wrecked. They are pegged to be completed for Q4 2019 on the Squadron 42 roadmap, and I would expect them to be sellable around that time if they put them in the persistent universe. The Anvil F8c Civilian version of the F8 Heavy Fighter is one that's been heavily requested to go on sale, but CIG have said a few times that it probably won't go on sale. You can get one by playing Squadron 42, and at some point they will be unlocked for you once you get to a certain point in Squadron 42 for purchase in the persistent universe, apparently. Players at the top 2 levels of Concierge also got one as well. It's possible as well that we might be able to purchase stuff like the F7A, the military version of the Hornet, after getting to a certain point in Squadron 42 as well. I expect, however, you'll be able to purchase them off players or other sources in the game eventually, even if you don't have Squadron 42. Some alien ships. So they require a huge range of alien ships to flesh out the other races in game. However, when it comes to what is flyable by players and that will go on concept sale or flyable sales or whatever, these ships need to be converted for human use, so they need to make sense for that. Out of the remaining Vandal ships, something from like an Asperia Stinger heavy Vandal fighter is possible. That actual ship is pegged to be completed in Q4 2019 in the Squadron 42 roadmap. It's unlikely that any of the large Vandal ships will be suitable to be converted for human use, at least for this foreseeable future. Some other possibilities that I think we might see go on concept sale and be usable by humans are Tavaran, Xi'an, and Banu bombers and cargo ships, the smaller size of ship there, Tavaran fighters, Banu bounty hunting slaver ship type stuff. Lots of people have said a slaver ship would be cool. Alien medium-sized multi-role or combat ships. So we could see some like Tavaran and Xi'an ships that are made for human use or sold by a POA or something for the human market. I don't think we're going to see anything from the Kurthak for a long time, as in lore they are on the other side of Xi'an's space, and we have no idea what the Kurthak even look like at the moment. There are quite a few holes in the current on-paper gameplay that various ships and vehicles could fill, as well as some ideas that I can foresee. A Drake or Anvil Corvette would make a fine addition to the verse, in my opinion, though it would have to be suitably different from the Polaris and Hammerhead. I would actually like to see a drone ship, or more drone ships, I should say. A drone Corvette actually would be pretty damn cool, but as more drone gameplay gets added to the game, and we should be seeing some of that in 2019, I would expect to see more drone specialist ships other than the Vulcan, and probably some for combat and other multi-role sort of stuff. Maybe utility for mining and salvage and tractor beams, things like that. Tractor drones, that just makes sense to me. The Crucible originally started life as a tugboat and was supposed to pull damaged and disabled and derelict ships around. The Crucible actually became a true repair ship in the end, and the role of tugboat is still left open. So tugboat, very, very big possibility. A medium mining and salvage ship certainly makes sense as well, as does a medium fuel ship, at least to me. However, the Starfarer might be the smallest sort of like fuel ship that they want in the game when it comes to harvesting fuel. We are still not entirely sure how interdiction is going to be handled in the future. They've said it's an item or module that can generate a field, and they've talked a little bit about interdiction mechanics. It's possible that there will be a specialist interdiction ship that will be able to disrupt and pull ships out of quantum travel in a large area. I'd also expect to see small, potentially less effective quantum interdiction devices equivalent to other ships, like at the moment the NPC Pirate Caterpillar has one. But that actually makes sense that some ships can have modular quantum interdiction devices. They might be deployed in the future. They've talked about this. We don't really know. But what I'm saying is it would be nice to potentially have a ship that is more specialist in that. Though it's possible it will just be, as I said, a deployable item from your cargo bay or torpedo bay or something. I'm curious what people's thoughts would be if they had EVE Online style Webifiers or something to that effect. Something that reduced ships' speeds. Obviously regulated or in some way, they're not just going to be able to go like, haha, you're Scrooge, now I've webified you, you can never get away or anything. But do you think there should be a way to lock down ships, or do you think that's just going to be handled by the new flight model, e-warfare, EMPs, other equipment, and the disabling of people's thrusters by shooting them, stuff like that? I'm just curious on what people think there, because Potentially you could see that sort of item in game. Maybe tractor beams will slow down ships if you can track them at short range. Maybe it's stuff like that. But I'm just curious what people think. Mine layers have been talked about before as well. I think the idea is quite popular, though again, this could be handled by having mines swappable into missile slots or torpedo slots, or another module in ships like the Caterpillar. Actually, a mine layer Caterpillar sounds pretty cool. A standalone mine layer is not out of the question, though. As atmospheric flight becomes more important and we have more reasons to fly planetside, I would expect to see ships that are much more focused on atmospheric superiority, especially fighters and bombers. That's going to be super important when we have outpost mechanics as well, dislodging those outposts. I'd also like to see a fast recon scanning ship, more for combat support and extending radar scanning ranges during fleet battles, or for tracking ships and running them down, that sort of stuff, because it's going to be a load of telemetry data and a load of people trying to work out where enemy ships are. And if you have these sort of like fast recon ships that are sending data back and looking around the areas, I think that's quite a good idea. The Terrapin, it does suit a purpose, and it's quite similar to that, but it's not fast. It's quite slow. It's supposed to take a beating. It's supposed to hide, whereas a faster recon ship sort of like could be used to literally scout the enemy, and the enemy can then sort of like skirmish with it if necessary. One of the other ships or vehicles I'd like to see would potentially be for farming. I like farming in games. We know there's farming from biodomes on the Endeavour, but they've said that outpost farming or planetary farming should be a thing. So I'm expecting some farming-focused vehicles to make this a reality. There's very little point in having quite an advanced farming mechanic and only having one ship that can make use of it from the Endeavour. So I suspect we'll see more biodomes and things like that, or maybe just planet-side vehicles for farming. Also, someone was actually talking to me the other day about potentially having sort of like vehicles that are focused on botanical or animal collection related stuff, ships for big game hunters, or people that wanted to literally capture animals. Though that's more of a long shot, as those systems could entirely be handled just by cargo bays as is. There are lots of potential ground vehicles thinking about it. Military vehicles, APCs, light tanks. There's definitely holes in the system for those currently. Utility vehicles for salvage, repair, tow, cargo, building, as I said as well, farming. They've even talked about water interaction and exploration potentially being a thing. At the moment, they're working on water and getting ships buoyant with that and stuff like that. There is going to be some level of exploration or interactivity with water in the future as well. So what about big ships? Well, they're unlikely to be sold anything bigger than the Javelin. You'll certainly be able to obtain them in the game though, so let's talk about a couple of them quickly. The RSI Bengal heavy carrier. Bengals will eventually be available in the persistent universe, but they're likely to be one of the rarest, if not the rarest ships owned by players. They're simply massive, dwarfing any other ship we currently have in game. I think they're around 1 kilometer in length and capable of carrying multiple squadrons of fighters. It's pegged for completion for Squadron 42 in Q4 2019. It's a bit of a long shot if we'll see one of these on sale, but I suppose people will be asking if I don't mention it. If they did, it would be extremely limited numbers, under 100 hulls I would expect, and for a ridiculous amount of dollar, so it's much more likely to be an in-game purchase in the future, or something that a whole org works towards for a long period of time. The Pegasus Escort carrier is also something that was asked a couple of times recently on the channel. This one maybe is slightly more likely than a Bengal, or at least going to be slightly more common than a Bengal, although it's still pretty damn big. The Pegasus Escort carrier can carry 30 to 36 ships, including Hornets, Gladiators, Argos, and 2 underslung Retaliators. It was originally called the Panther and is supposed to be featuring in Squadron 42 Episode 2, coming at some point in the future. Things like the Retribution Super Dreadnought, I don't think they will be in game anytime soon, and maybe many years in the future. I think that like the UEE might only have one of them. Certainly not coming this year though. Other ships that have been predicted or talked about by people include space station building ships. Actually, one of the original well, I suppose slightly older stretch goals now was to have player managed and run stations. So it sort of makes sense that potentially they could have a space station building ship and there's a huge amount of gameplay area in Star Citizen. So why not have people building space stations? They can be really expensive to build or something. If it works in system, if they can come up with a good way of doing it, then they're no different to outposts, really, in my head, except they're not able to exploit resources as readily that are more abundant on planets, maybe? Do you have any predictions or expectations of concepts and flyable ships that we might see on sale in 2019? If you do, chuck them in the comments below. Every month we have a giveaway for a Star Citizen ship. For January, we have a standalone Anvil Carrack, the mighty explorer vessel. All you need to do to be in for a chance of winning is be subscribed to my YouTube channel and then comment on any of my videos released during the month. You can find more details in the comments below. If you don't have a gaming PC yet or you are upgrading, instead consider Shadow Cloud Gaming. They allow you to leverage the powers of the internet to stream a high-spec Windows 10 environment to any other PC, Mac, or device like a smartphone or tablet. It is working really well in Star Citizen's 3.4 branch, and be sure to use the code BoredGamer if you do decide to check it out to get a discount. Links below. For those of you wanting to support the channel further, there is Patreon, and I will be looking for an alternative platform as well for people that have requested that. But in addition, or as an alternative to that at the moment, there's the YouTube channel memberships, literally the join button below this video, or direct donations via the links below as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really does help me. Any feedback or opinions is greatly appreciated and helps guide the channel working out what content is a good idea to put out next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.